Hi, I'm Kate from Care for Kids and I'm here today at Goodstart Bentley East, McKinnon Road, talking about school readiness.
Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm a Bachelor Qualified Teacher.
Heidi, I have lots of questions for you regarding the year before school. I'm wondering, what does school readiness look like?
School readiness is mainly preparing the children for life. It's not just preparing them for school. So what we do is basically that we support the children to build on their social skills and their interactions. We support them with their emotions, how to understand their emotions, how to regulate them. And also we prepare them through getting them to know the life skills like how to be responsible, take care of their belongings, put their shoes on, pack away their stuff, serve their own meals, all these skills.
So there's a real focus on independence.
Yep.
And helping children to learn how to do things
Yep.
for themselves.
Yep.
If I looked into the classroom, what does the learning environment look like in this year before school?
It's a play-based learning environment, but we have intention behind everything that we do with the children to get them ready for the transition to school. They will learn like literacy skills, numeracy skills, all that, but through play. So we always focus on their interests, what they like, and then we take it from there to teach them how to write their names, how to hold a pencil properly, but it's all in a fun way to make it easier for them and to make them more engaging.
So what you're saying is it might look like everyone is just having fun, which they are, but there is intention behind it.
They're transitioning from home to the childcare center or from the childcare center to school. So that's what the early years learning framework talks about. We have 5 outcomes and they are all targeting those learning areas that the children need to develop. So that's our guide on how can we utilize these outcomes to support the children while using their interest as well.
So making learning fun.
Yeah.
Heidi, how can a parent at home support their child in this same way as you do in a learning environment?
So what parents need to do at home is actually an extension of what we're doing here. So for example, helping the children to pack up the room, know how to use the toilet independently, how to put their shoes on, how to put their jackets on, how to apply sunscreen when they're going out. A lot of parents come and ask us, what do you think we need to work on? What is my child need support with? So one of the most important things is that to get the child to be able to ask for help as well. That is something that is important for school readiness because it gets the children to be more confident in their interactions with their teachers in a bigger space. Here in childcare or kinder, it's a smaller space, but at school, it's a bigger space and they need to be able to communicate that feeling.
So what you're saying is it's a real collaborative effort between parents, educators, and then the future prep teacher.
Yeah.
If there's a parent who is feeling a little bit concerned or worried about their child moving into prep, perhaps their child has some additional needs, what's something that could be done to support that parent and the child when they are transitioning into the school environment?
It starts from the conversations that we have with the parents before they decide that they're ready to send their children to school. So we do a transition report and it's joined between the kinder teacher and the parents. They write it in collaboration and we send those to the school teacher. The school teacher sometimes calls if she thinks she has any concerns about what was written. Mainly it's the social skills that they would be looking at. So if they believe that the child is, from what we wrote in the transition report, that they need extra help or support, they will give us a call and we tell them everything that we know about the child. Another thing is that the children have like 4 transition orientation sessions at school, that they go and visit the school and get to know their teachers and new friends. So sometimes when parents are a bit anxious or worried about their children, we might go with them to give that extra support and talk to the teacher about what we know about that child that could make the transition smoother and easier.
So throughout the year, how do you undertake assessment of children's school readiness goals?
We assess the children through the observations that we observe every day, and we do like a summative assessment for them 3 times per year. And that is like summing up what we see that they know, what they need to work on and develop. And that's how we can set different goals. So if one child achieved the goal in like 2 or 3 months, we can change the goal and start targeting something else. Each child is different because they develop in a different pace. So that's how we use our observations to set those goals for them.
How do you stay in touch with parents and families throughout the year regarding learning?
We have a platform that we communicate with the parents. So once they enroll their child in our center, we give them access to that platform. So they will be able to see what they do every day. They also can access through that their summative assessments. They can have access to their goals and communicate with the teachers through that, like by leaving a comment. So we love chatting to our families. So during drop-off and during pick-up in the afternoon, we're always happy to talk to the parents. But if there are specific needs, like they need to have like a one-on-one interview with the teacher, we plan a time for that, and they are welcome to come at any time and discuss their children's development needs.
What stage of the year does school readiness become sort of a more main focus?
The discussions about it, it starts in term 3. That's when we send the transition reports and everything.
Is it common for educators to recommend that a child would benefit from an extra year in kindergarten?
It's not very common. It all depends on how the children are developing. So if the teacher, in collaboration with the parents, see that the child might benefit from an extra year based on their social skills, we have to write a report, and it has to be assessed if the child will be eligible to get another 4 years old kinder funded from the government. Sometimes it makes a really big difference when they do that extra year, and then you can see how they are more sociable, how their emotions have developed, and they're able to communicate those feelings. Because if they go to school and they're not able to communicate what they feel and what they need, it might be hard for them in a bigger setting. I believe what makes us happy is to see them happy to do that transition and to feel ready for it. So when they do their graduation, and they always talk about going to school and how they feel about that. When we see that they are ready emotionally and socially and they are flourishing, that's when we believe that they are ready to do that transition.
Hi, I'm Steph, and I am a primary school teacher of 10 years. I am a mum to a nearly 2-year-old daughter, and I'm going to talk to you about school readiness.
So Steph, I have some questions for you. Awesome. As a beautiful prep teacher and teacher of many age groups. Tell me, in a prep classroom, when would you first be introduced to a child that is coming into your classroom?
We get introduced to our children a lot of different ways. We have them come in for an interview, a school tour. We invite them to things at our school. We call them come and play sessions. So they're kind of little activities with students, just kind of casual with parents as well, so they feel comfortable with the environment. We also have our official orientation sessions, so they're more towards the end of the year before they start school, which is without parents. And we also get transition statements from kindergartens, which come through towards the end of the year, which give us a good snapshot of all the kids and their strengths, things that they're working on.
Steph, can you tell me some of the attributes of a child that settles smoothly into prep?
We find children that settle really well are children that can separate from parents and family members reasonably well. It's okay to feel a little bit apprehensive before starting in a new environment. As an adult, we'd feel exactly the same. I also find children that can communicate their needs, tend to settle quite well, who can kind of discuss the way they're feeling. Their emotional growth is quite good, and children that just feel, comfortable.
Comfortable. So I guess this is where I am in my life at the moment. My little girl, she's going to go into prep next year. So as a parent, what can I do at home in this sort of 4-year-old kinder year before the start of school year? What can I start doing now to help my child get school ready?
So many fun things that they can do. Things as simple as playing games with your children, sharing, taking turns, practicing simple things like opening their lunchbox, getting things out of their lunchbox, packing their school bag. We often encourage parents to do uniform days, so obviously closer to when they're about to start school. Uniforms can be a big thing for kids. They're a bit itchy, they're a bit scratchy. How to take them on and off to go to the toilet, because obviously that's a new experience, so practicing doing that. And the biggest thing is probably talking positively about school to them. Regardless of your own schooling experience, it's really important to talk really positively about school, that they're going to have fun, the types of things they might do, and that it's not going to be too much different than kindergarten was, but they're going to make lots of new friends, new teachers, and it's just going to be a fun learning experience for them.
So share in the excitement.
Yes.
And encourage independence, I guess.
100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I will work on these things. But I would love to know, what are some key differences between the kindergarten classroom and the prep classroom?
Good question. I'm going to be really honest. I think back in the day, there was a big thing about prep being a bit more structured and kinder being just more about just free play all the time. But I think schools are definitely moving now to more play-based learning in prep, even in year 1 and year 2, because we know the importance of play in children's development and their learning, so that there isn't that much of a difference. You know, obviously you're in a bigger environment with older year levels. Even the way that children learn, you know, it's not just desks that they sit at, you know, we're very flexible, much like kindergartens now. There's not that many key differences anymore, you know, other than a little bit more structure maybe with, you know, you have a learning block and going out for recess, a learning block, lunchtime, learning block, you know, and obviously there are breaks in the school holidays where you don't go to school, and yeah, that's about it really. So it's very similar.
Still learning through play.
Yes, 100%.
Maybe the structure of the day might change a little bit, and there might be some different learning focuses.
Yes.
But still play-based learning is the...
Definitely at our school, and I'm sure many other schools as well.
So Steph, my next question is, do you expect or hope that a new kinder child coming into your prep classroom, are you wanting them to know the alphabet from A to Z? Do you want them to count to 100? Is that something that a prep teacher would expect?
I absolutely do. They do not have to know all the alphabet and count to 20, whatever. Academically, that kind of stuff, you know, prep teachers teach. I know kinder teachers teach them as well, but for parents, do not freak out. You do not need your child to know all those things before they get to prep. I personally think that social and emotional growth and well-being and learning is far more important than knowing ABC and, you know, sounds of the letters and being able to read. Some parents really get a bit worried about that, but things like, yeah, being able to understand your emotions and socialise nicely with other children, you know, being able to share and take turns and, you know, be independent with, you know, getting yourself ready and things like that. That is definitely more what we would hope for a child to come in, the skills that they should come in to school with rather than the academic stuff. Because when a child is emotionally regulated and happy and settled, that's when learning will come, and you'll be surprised. We often find prep as the biggest year of growth for a child, and that's why it's like my favourite year level to teach, because children just make leaps and bounds so quickly, not knowing any of the alphabet, numbers, anything like that, and then, you know, full reading by the end of the year. So yeah, 100% they do not need to know all of that. If they do, that's okay, but if they don't, it's nothing to worry about.
So us parents can focus on just all the beautiful learning that happens from just playing with our children and giving them opportunities to play with other children. Lots of parents I have spoken to have an understanding, and I'm not sure where it started and where it comes from. The idea is that boys can often benefit from an extra year of kinder, and girls are generally ready to go sooner than boys are. Is there any truth to this in your experience in the prep classroom? Do you find girls settling faster than the boys?
It really depends on your child. I think often I see boys to not be able to regulate themselves as well as some girls, but then I've had some boys that come in perfectly ready for school when they're a bit younger. So it really depends on the child, what sort of upbringing they've had, you know, what parents have been focusing on, where they went to kinder. Like, there's lots of different factors. Always, if you're unsure about whether to send your child early or not, I'd always speak to your educators about this and what they've noticed, especially about social and emotional regulation. A lot of families have children that are academically ready, so they might know all the ABC and the 1, 2, 3s and all that kind of stuff, but socially and emotionally, I still need a whole year of, you know, really targeted emotional and social growth rather than starting in school. So it really depends really on your own child, and I can't definitively say, yes, boys would benefit for another year and not girls, because I've seen boys come in early, I've seen girls come in early. Some have really thrived and others have struggled a little bit more, but it has nothing to do with their gender. It was just about who they are as a person, and the environment for them. So
for a parent who it's been recommended that their child could really benefit from another year of kindergarten, but perhaps the parent is really keen for the child to start their school journey, what would you say to that parent who is very, very keen to get started with prep?
Listen to what your kinder teachers have to say. You know, they've obviously seen your children for a good period of time in a learning environment away from families. If you're still wanting your child to go early for whatever reason, go to the orientation sessions in a prep classroom. I've had that personally with some children and families saying, oh, they've recommended that I do an extra year with my child because they're very shy or they're quiet or they need to come out of their shell a little bit more. And I always say, come to the orientation session. We, as prep teachers, will see them in an environment that's away from the kindergarten and just observe them, because that's what our job is in that little space, is to just get to know them a little bit more with their cohort, and we can kind of give feedback again from an outsider's point of view. And for some children we say, I think they are totally ready. Ultimately it's a family's decision. You can decide whether you send a child or not if you're in the age bracket and not past the cutoff, but it's always advised to listen to the educators and their ideas about why. It may be that a different kinder is good for your child rather than straight into a school. That's also been recommended, especially if the family's been around in that kinder space for a long, long time. So there's lots of different kind of ways you can see if you want your child to go early or not, and if they are ready. Yeah, as families it is your choice.
That's the end of my questions, Steph, so thank you so much for your time and talking to me about school readiness.
It's always wonderful to chat to other educators, and we've got to reiterate to parents that we're in partnership with kinders and teachers and families all in one, and we all have the same goal. We want the best for their child as they do. So we're here to work all together, and that's the most important thing. That's the best thing you can do, is work with your educators for school readiness, because it's an exciting time.
Thanks, Steph.
No problems.